looking as ridiculous as humanly possible today, borrowing my buddy's cowboy hat. And yeah, it goes really well with the hood, doesn't it? That's yeah, that's a really good look, I'm sure. Anyway, besides that, I'm here to talk to you about something that you probably the last thing on your minds, the absolute last thing, and this is exactly why we need to talk about it now, because it's not something you want to start considering in the heat of the moment, is 2026 will fully, and I feel very strongly about this, will be the bull run that we thought 2025 was going to be. Oh, bull run, right? Oh, that was just a coincidence. I didn't even plan this. See the bull right there on the hat? So yes, in honor of the bull on my hat, we will have the altcoin bull run in 2026. So the question now is, once that happens, are you prepared to take profit? And how are you going to do it? What are you going to put your profit in? Right? So that's a really important question. And I know it sounds crazy and muy loco to talk about it now when we're like still holding on to the bloody bags of the most brutal, let's call it bear phase of a bull market we've ever seen in our lives. We've never had it last this long, with Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, and the alts, again, like say 94% of the alts have not seen any major moves over 2025. You know, even coins like XRP and the ISO 222s, they had their moments in the sun, but now they've kind of settled down. And sure, I mean, XRP is higher than where it was at the beginning of the year, but it lost, and like XLM, HBAR, they had huge moves, and they've lost a lot of those gains now. And even the coins that had more modest moves, like Doge never saw anything crazy. Still, it was over, what is it, 45 cents a few months ago, and now it's at 13 cents, right? So this is pretty fucking bad. But let's look to the future, and 2026 is going to be that year. Hang in there. Just have patience. I know it's not, you know, it's not easy for me to say, because I'm also just like you. I want to start spending those crypto gains, but we have to have the gains before we spend them. Meanwhile, let's take the time now. Well, it's not exciting. It's actually depressing and boring. So this is the perfect time to make a plan for what we're going to do once we do have the gains that we're all hoping and praying and believing that we will have. All right. So I'll tell you a couple of things that I'm considering. And of course, you can comment below with any ideas you have or what your plans are for next year, assuming you're thinking longer term like me. Okay, so yeah, let's get into it. And I'll start with saying that I've taken and I've made videos on this, and maybe I'll link to them in the description here. I made videos on, I've taken out crypto loans, some of it just to pay for like basic bills and pay for things going on in my life. But also I've taken out crypto loans just to leverage in a low leverage, low risk kind of way to buy more crypto when prices have been so low. Now, obviously that hasn't paid off yet because we haven't had any kind of pop, not even a relief rally, which I think at the very least, for those of you guys saying, okay, we're going into the bear market, it's going to be over. I mean, the very least, in every bear market, in every down cycle, there's always at least a relief rally. So that's why I'm so confident this is pretty close to the bottom that I think we're going to get. And even if it does go lower later on, we're at least due for a relief rally of Bitcoin over 100K first. So that's kind of like baked in the cake, right? But going back to the earlier topic, when we finally do have those gains in 2026, one of the things that I would like to get into, it's kind of a relatively low amount of capital needed for the cash flow, which is it's pretty overlooked. Now it's real estate, but not just any kind of real estate. Of course, there's commercial real estate that usually it's a larger investment. But one of my friends is doing this, and he's making a killing. He's a teacher, and he's actually considering retiring next year because he's doing so well. And no, it's not crypto, nothing related to that. It is tiny houses. Okay, so tiny homes, you can look on the market, maybe 20 grand, give or take, maybe 30 grand. You can even get them for less than 20 if you put a little bit of work into them. But it's a pretty low investment for what he's renting them out for, he's almost charging the same in rent as he would for a full house, maybe a little bit less, but not that much less. So you're paying much, much less, like, let's say, by a factor of 10. Let's say a home you'd pay 200,000 for, a tiny home you pay 20,000. So it's crazy. By a factor of fucking 10. So you could get 10 tiny homes. This is very rough math, right? Right? But think of it this way. You get 10 tiny homes for the price of one house, one real house, of $200,000 house. Okay, and that's pretty incredible. Let's just say the tiny homes cost more. Okay, they cost 30,000. Whatever, you're still getting I don't know, more than six. I can't do that. 30, 69, 120, 150. Yeah, you're still getting let's say more than 6 tiny houses for the price of one house. The math is undeniable. And even if you charge for rent, let's say, I don't know, 10, 20% less, even if it was 30% less, then you would have charged for the rent for renting out your home. And we're talking about investment here. We're not talking about living there, right? So this is just pure investment, where you're going to park your cash and reinvest your money when you want to take some of the risk of crypto off the table. Again, this would be next year, not now. Now I'd just be buying more crypto. That's a no-brainer. But yeah, so you could rent out your tiny homes. It's very little money down for a really nice ROI. And the only, say downside, maybe the thing that's not, what you miss out from versus having a traditional home is traditional homes, you can, right, you take out a lien on your home and then you can use that money based on the equity of your home to then you get like an influx of cash to then go put into other things, into other homes or into other types of investments or whatever you need that money for. Tiny homes, traditionally banks don't see them as assets in the same sense. So I mean, this is based on my friend, because we've had many conversations on this. I'm not an expert at tiny homes, but I get the general sense. I've learned a lot just from talking to him, and I'm very excited to do this on my own. Obviously, for those of you who have other real life going on and you just don't have the time for it or whatever, it'll obviously eat into your profit a little bit, but it'll save you a lot of time and trouble. You get a manager, right? Just like a property manager for a traditional home. Why not do the same for a tiny home? So you get someone to rent them out and, do the maintenance and whatever you need to be doing. Even with that, you're still going to make a nice profit. So yeah, that's something actually on the forefront of my mind is later, and this will be later in 2026 once the bull market has, at least not peaked, but once I can finally take out profits. So number one is just paying off those loans, like I said, right? I gotta pay off my crypto loans before I do anything else because I'm getting charged interest for that, which I want to get rid of. But then, yeah, so number one, after I pay off those loans, whatever, random expenses, stuff going on in my life. Nice. I think I deserve a nice vacation at this point. That's not an investment, but for those of you like me that have been hanging by the skin of your teeth, into this very depressing bull market that has not taken off yet, I think we all deserve a vacation. So I'm going to get that vacation. I'm going to pay off the loans, and then once I have more, with more funds, again, assuming the bull market has gone like I think it's going to go, I'm going to look into tiny homes. That's going to be one of the most exciting investments that I can make in terms of cash flow that I can imagine. And then if I want more kind of longer term, let's say just somewhere to park cash, that I don't want to just have it in dollars in the bank, which we all know US dollars are losing value, especially compared to other currencies. Like the US dollar has been shit. Let's be honest here. So yeah, if I want an alternative to just holding it in cash, but I don't really know what to do with it yet or something, but I don't want it to lose its value, I would consider, we'll see what the price of gold and silver is like, because I wouldn't buy gold and silver now, that's for sure. But next year, if we finally get that, there's usually an ebb and flow between precious metals and crypto. So typically gold will make the move first, then other precious metals. And then after those, maybe gold pulls back a little bit. I'm not expecting a crash at all, not in this kind of economy. But if gold pulls back, then cryptos run while gold's chilling and going down, maybe down sideways, along with the other metals. that would be a great time to do, a little seesaw action. So you take the profits from the cryptos at the top, and then you can put them into gold and, other, if you want to consider silver. Again, I wouldn't buy it now, but I'm talking if that happens next year, where like cryptos go crazy, Doge gets $1 and Bitcoin Cash is at like a couple $1,000 and all this stuff, and you're actually having real profits. You can consider parking I'm going to consider parking some of that into precious metals if they've taken a backseat to cryptos at that time. So yeah, so I would again, tiny homes, precious metals, tiny homes for the cash flow, precious metals for just like holding your value. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, you could see. I'm not a big fan of stocks. Especially in that one, you compare it to crypto or even Bitcoin, right? So, and then of course I would just have some cash, just kind of like for a rainy day fund. Although I still would feel more comfortable putting my cash for a rainy day into something like conservative, like gold, that's very extremely liquid. Gold you can always sell in an instant, buy and sell like that. So for holding value, but of course it's still good to always have some cash no matter what, just because it is the most liquid thing in the world is cash. And that's more for kind of like buying dips in crypto. So once things are getting a little frothy, I would hold cash just to buy the dip in crypto and consider that in the category of reinvesting in crypto. But temporarily it's in cash, probably stable coins. And meanwhile, it's nice, you can earn a little interest in stables. But that's kind of, I guess, I would say short to medium term is holding stable coins, right? Long term, they're just going to lose value because it's the US dollar. So as the dollar goes down. So that's not really an investment in the sense of like, I'm just holding stable coins for interest. I mean, it's nice. But like, I almost compare that with gold in the sense of like, okay, gold is going to hold the value better. Well, stable coins will hold the value just in terms of the interest you're going to make, not the stable coin itself. Right? So short term, I guess short to medium term, stable coins, gold, I'm summarizing now. Longer term, we're talking tiny homes as a real estate cash flow investment. Much more exciting from an ROI perspective versus like buying a traditional home. You're not going to get the same equity, no. I mean, maybe they'll go up a little bit, but I wouldn't even count on that. Just more from like crazy cash flow. So that's a really kind of like more of a business sense what you can do. Oh, hey, thanks for watching, guys. By the way, let me know, drop a comment or question if you have any ideas of what you're going to do next year. That's what we're talking about. When you finally have profits from this market, from this bull market that has not really taken off yet, but I do expect to next year. So that's what we're talking about today. I've already been live for over 12 minutes now. So I'll wrap this up here in the last couple minutes. Any questions? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. Feel free to compliment my hat, and I'm wearing it in honor of the upcoming bull run that, fingers crossed, will be in 2026. No, I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't, because it was in 2025, and this shit has already been has gone on longer than we all thought it would. Not just me, like almost any kind of crypto person or expert. They all thought we'd have, at least by the end of the year, some kind of pop, and we haven't had it yet. So it's gonna just carry on until in 2026. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I trying to think of anything else that I'm missing here. Yeah, last video we talked about Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I guess I'll end this with summarizing. So it's in terms of cryptos, altcoins, I think let's say the safest no-brainers, if you do have extra cash to invest in cryptos, I would put it in to those that have been kind of like the blue chips that are just on a pullback like everything else. Chainlink, Doge, XRP, right? You don't have to go too far off on the risk curve. If you want something slightly more risky, but it's not really, I mean, it's still very established and has a great ecosystem and community and all that stuff. I love Avalanche as a layer 1, layer 2. Avalanche is doing a lot with gaming, DeFi. It just kind of checks all the boxes. And it's kind of like more of like a mid market cap at this point. So yeah, Avalanche is awesome, and it's very, very, very much off its all-time highs. Sitting at what, like $13, give or take? I mean, it's a steal. So yeah, Avalanche is awesome. Got a little bit more of that the other day. And I love, oh, let me give a shout out to my buddy, High Altitude Investing, Dallin. I did an interview with him a little while back, but I just watched his video, I think from yesterday, about how he's saying Theta, and he shows the chart of Theta. It's literally in that like depression phase of and it is so far off its all-time high. I said it was like a 77x to get back to its all-time high. And I'm not even counting on that. Let's just say it gets back to a third of a way to the all-time high. Let's be more conservative. I mean, dude, that's still many multiples, many X's from where it is now at like 35 cents. So data is a screaming buy. Although it's still kind of it kind of moves typically with like the gaming coins. And I mentioned this on my last video. Gaming will move towards, or like have its the really biggest moves. And believe me, when it goes crazy, it goes nuts. But that does typically happen towards the very end of the alt season, right? After the large caps have already made their moves, Doge has already like done its 10x, and Litecoin, Bitcoin Cat, like, whatever, top 20, top 50. Later on, you'll see the craziest shit happen from the gaming coins, or like metaverse, or want to call them like AI, maybe AI, whatever, DeFi. DeFi will probably move towards the end. Maybe my prediction is it'll move before gaming, but with the exception of like maybe Chainlink, because that's just such a blue chip. Chainlink will probably go earlier. But yeah, if I'm just looking for the safest risk to rewards, I'm just looking at the blue chips right now. Top 10, top 20. I mean, I wouldn't go much riskier than Avalanche. Although, like I said, Theta, Dallin did a really nice analysis of it. And Theta, I mean, it's hard not to put some, even just like, I don't know, $50, couple $100 in it, knowing at 35 cents, knowing its all-time high was $15. So, like, here's where I'm at. Like, forget about the whole like getting to the all-time high, or it's more than 15 thing. But yeah, forget about that. Let's just say it gets back to $1. I mean, 35 cents to $1, that's nearly a 3x. Like, hello, no brainer. So yeah, like if you want something higher risk to reward, Theta looks pretty fucking good right now. I actually bought some this morning, just a little bit, because again, I'm already on crypto loan, so I shouldn't be over invested anymore. It's just so hard not to when there's so many juicy deals out there. But yeah, wow, this is a really long live stream. Thanks for swinging by, guys. Yeah, hang in there. Like I said, we're pretty much through. We're at least going sideways in this depression phase. It hasn't gotten worse. I don't think it will. It's just more of a question of time at this point. Hang in there, and then I would already start thinking, or obviously I already have, like I said, what you want to do, whatever it is. I mentioned a few options like the tiny homes, precious metals, all that stuff. But how you want to invest your profits, or a business. If you have your own small business, I mean, it'd be a great opportunity to invest some of your crypto profits into that next year, right? Because that's investing in yourself, which is really the best investment you could ever make in the world, is in yourself. And the second best would be buying a hat like this, obviously. All right. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe really helps the channel. And I will catch you next time. Adios.